Canton, Texas. This is the biggest flea market in the world, and usually it would be really busy, but it is a blustery, cool day. The good news is there is one hall full of antiques, and that's where most of the people who sell that kind of thing go. So we're going to go there. It really is a blustery day here, so a lot of the outdoor dealers have already packed up. Ordinarily, these fields would be full. Fortunately, on a day like this, the antiques and collectibles are still available because they are indoors at the Canton Civic Center. So this is where the action's going to be today. It's called First Monday Trade Days. Why is it being held on a Sunday? Well, there's a story there. A lot of little towns have trade days in the South. But this started in 1850 when people came here to do their business with the court, and then they would start trading things amongst each other. And that was the first Monday of every month. Well, now this has turned into a huge event, and people come here Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before the first Monday of every month. So it's still called First Monday, but it's not on Monday, as I found out the first time I came here on a Monday. $10 on the McCoy. That's cute. I haven't seen that one before. Definitely 1950s. I think we'll have that. Well, we broke the ice right away, and while she's getting us changed, we'll take a look at these linens and aprons. A little bit of junk jewelry. These all look newer. 50% off table. Very pretty Haviland pieces. They're selling so inexpensively now, only $35 each on the vegetable bowls. 50% off the charm. I really do like this. 11 pieces for $30 is your right price, but I have that whole set pretty much like that for sale already. This is the Fenton Internationals line. This is their last attempt to try to have some of the hand painting and artwork done offshore to see if that would help keep the company in business. It didn't work. They have this marked down to $7.50. Here's why it didn't work. They didn't treat the glass properly. So look how the flower is already worn off, even though this was made in 2010. Was not the quality we were used to from Fenton. Cute little vanity box here, $28. $10 each. I've sold this big guy before, but this one's missing its ear. Well, not missing, but it's loose. Hobey is a good company, but $25. Those are not the sexiest earrings. Maybe a few too many colors going on there. The Elena, they're not necessarily old, but they're cool looking. We are going to see new things as well because it is a flea market. Blue Danube. I've actually sold this pretty well. It was so popular in the 1980s that there's still a replacement market for it. At 20% off, her prices are about right. I like the dealer plaque, but $45 is max for me. Box of $10 jewelry. I like this because of the crystals.
Yeah, I'm sort of trying to get rid of the jewelry, so a lot of those are 20 and 30.
Yeah, no, it's
originally.
It's a nice piece. I love it. These stretches, I always get my skin caught in them, and I always worry about that for my customers, but I do think they're cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this one.
Yeah.
Are your eagle bookends for sale?
Yes, they are. All the bookends are for sale. I've got these for the 1980s.
Oh yes, the elephants.
And I've got the
oh, I see spaniels and boats. Yeah.
for the 1940s.
Yeah, those are cute. They're Sirocco wood, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, very neat. Those are cute.
Because I was
yeah. I have a friend from Syracuse, New York, and that's where they were made, and he taught me how to say it right.
Sirocco?
Sirocco, yeah. Half off on the trains. These are a lot of Tyco and Lifelike, which were the cheap end, like I played with as a kid. But the prices are good at half off, only $5 for the cars. Pretty Weller vase here, $50. A lot of these Roland and Marcellus plates of famous people, Jefferson, Dickens, Shakespeare's as is. Will's lamps, he's got some cool stuff he's made out of various other things. These are always fun to show because they're so inventive and clever. I like the blow dryers turned into them. And this robot-looking guy doing his curls is fun. The saxophone player is pretty great. They've turned a little old mixer here into one. Anything that was electric is already wired up, and then you can just rewire it and do these. Pretty cool. Now this might be the bargain of the place. The pink coloration makes me think European. It's hand blown. This is an older Mary Gregory style. They have a $3 price and a $5 price. Frankly, I would pay either of those prices. It doesn't have any damage. And this is old. This is true antique. Well, this is definitely a lot fewer people than there ordinarily would be here, but we are still having fun. I have bought something at almost every booth so far. Look how nice these linens are, and the way they have them displayed is so good. Usually, the dealers who display their linens like this know what they have, but sometimes I can find one that's maybe estate or something that's special in some way that I can afford. This one's fun with the beach life. Lighthouses and fruit, and oh, there's another beach scene. See, here's one. Bering Sea. This is probably Alaska. Yes, the Prildoff Islands and the portable geysers. I wonder how much this one is. This one is priced at $125. Wow. Well, yeah, they know what they've got, but they do have neat stuff. We see coins. We see jewelry. Metal cuffs and things. Nice cameo ring in the old box there. A little bit of Southwestern jewelry. I don't expect these things to be inexpensive. I like this piece, the check piece in the middle. And there's a big cameo behind that and a nice crown pin. They do have some nice things in this space. Some old men's wristwatches. I like the one with the copper tone in the back. These are selling a lot better than pocket watches these days because people are likely to wear these. Here's some advertising for Canton, and you can see how busy it usually is. We've just hit it at the wrong time, but at least we hit it. The last time I came on a Monday thinking because it was first Monday, that's when it would be, and it was all over. I was so disappointed. So this is my first time here. Chinese laundry sprinklers. The one on the left is Shawnee, the one on the right, Cardinal China. We think a little differently of that imagery today. At the time it was made, it was just thought of as cute. Adirondack frame with a neat die cut in it from about 1900 for $35. Hello there.
That's cute.
That is a cute one.
That's an oldie. You know why? Because look.
Because it's got the pigs and it's got cigarettes on it. Yep.
And then this is a separate little coaster you can take off and put little hot pads on and stuff.
Oh, like a trivet. Yeah. Oh, that's cute.
It's $15.
Oh, that's awfully sweet.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, and it's a hibiscus. You know what? I'll take it.
Okay, great. You can love it in your feet.
And I'm going to keep looking just a little bit. Millefiori paperweight, but it's got the satin grind on the bottom.
Well, I can do better on that too.
Well, I'll let you know if I see something I'm serious about. We'll talk turkey. Lots of nice pottery here. That looks like a Shawnee piece. This is Nile oak. Old pencil box here is really cute, but it's missing a piece. It's got the ruler on the side. That's from about 1900. That's a neat Shawnee piece. 65 is about what I got for the last one I had. This has an interesting glaze. A good signature.
90.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this one before. Interesting. Yeah, Ephraim Faience. Yeah, I've heard of this company. Oh, it's really well done. The glaze is nice, and it's the first time I've seen one. I've heard of them, but I've never seen one in person before. Interesting Roseville piece with the shell, too. 30. Oh, wow. It's interesting. I haven't seen this piece of Roseville before. It's got to be a late period one. I just realized it's an ashtray. That's so funny. I was so looking at the shell. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. I'll take that. Well, she's being very generous with her prices, and she's got interesting stuff, and she knows something about it, which is great. It's fun to talk to somebody who understands what they're selling. This is La Solana ware out of California. $50 for this big set is not a bad price from about 1920. Hull made some like this. McCoy made some like this. And there is our mark on the bottom. Great clock. And a nice little Admiral radio for $50. Franciscan apple. They want $350 for that set. And this one has the peppermill, which is a little bit harder to find. I like the shoe shine stand.
Oh, isn't that great?
It is fun.
20 on that.
Well, I'm tempted. I had one and I just sold it and it took me a long time, but I do think they're awfully neat.
Oh, you can do so much with them, you know?
Well, it's like a step stool and a seat and a bunch of other things. Exactly.
I had them like that. He was old.
Aw.
Help her get up on the bed.
The bed, yes. Cute little Francoma shakers. And then this one in the plaid is the Camargue salt and pepper. These folks have A bunch of these wood bottle toppers from Germany. They're really fun. They're asking $95 for that set. Full carnelian agate vesta there. That would have held your matches, and then next to it is a pillbox. This is a good luck sign. Much older than the Nazi swastika. It points a different direction. This specimen is a John Adams Presidential Peace Medal with an 1797 date. Old Chinese remnant here is interesting with the polychrome paint. They want $220 for that. The warrior shield is a Maasai piece from Africa. Shunga are erotic art. They were like the Kama Sutra, but in Japan. $100 seems like a good price on that. I'm going to ask to see it. I've sold them for more. This is cool. This is a trade piece made of copper with the turtle on it. It says it's from the fur trade. A gorget with turtle effigy and hallmarks, dating it to about 1800. That is really neat. Priced at $495. They have a bunch of Hudson's Bay fur trade pieces. You see the old trade beads. And then they would do these copper effigies. Lots of beavers, otters. What an interesting collection this is. And you see the Hudson's Bay mark in the middle of them all. Well, one nice thing about being here on a Sunday is that we have lots of time to see things and talk because there's not a ton of people around. This is really neat. Look at the Keystone Garage from about 1950. The cars are plastic. The bottom is masonite, as is the building. Love that Art Moderne with the curvature. They have this priced at $150, which with all the pieces is pretty good, really. A cannonball that says it's from the 1700s. I am inclined to think these people know what they have because I see a whole bunch of stuff that they have attributions for. These are from the Crimean War. The Crimean War was the first one where the new technology of photography was used to show what war was actually like. And it was the first time there were anti-war protests because people could see what war was actually like instead of just hearing about the glories of it. Confederate States Army shell on the right there. A Hotchkiss on the left, found in Franklin, Tennessee, where we have filmed before and where there was a huge battle. Lots of Civil War relic digs. You see lots of buckles and bullets and things, and they have between $3 and $10 each on those. This is from the Mexican-American War, first-line infantry, whereas these are from the Mexican infantry itself that fought on the other side of that war. These are from the time of the Alamo. We are here in Texas, not too far from San Antonio. The Alamo is a very, very somber place to visit, but these are interesting pieces from the Mexican Army, and you can tell a lot of it is hand-hewn. 1820s and 30s. Old 1950s school charts. How you conjugate the act of. I need the Spanish version of this now. Cute little sand pail. $79 from the 1960s or 70s. They have a whole bunch of sand pails here. These always sell well for me in Florida. Their prices are about what mine would be. $18 is about the right price on these rubber-headed puppets from the 1960s. For Disney, and then they have a cloth body. You see Donald Duck and other characters as well. Never have seen the Dennis the Menace string holder in chalk before. That's got to be out of the 1950s. That is unusual. Oh, and it's early for Howard Pierce because most of his stuff is stoneware rather than the ceramics. So, yeah, this is out of the Claremont factory. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Boy, they've got some neat stuff here. This is costume or this is an estate jewelry dealer. They have some really neat old pieces. Coin dealers here too, as well as bill dealers. 1923 large dollar bill there, right under a Virginia Treasury note from 1862. Before the Confederacy really solidified, the states had to issue their own notes. An old £1 from New Zealand with the Maori and the Kiwi. And then these are Philippine currency that was done by the United States for the Philippines before we went through the war and then gave them their independence in 1946. The celluloid fellow in the top hat is going to date to about 1930, about the same era as the Nancy Ann storybook dolls in composition. From a little later time, of course, we have the Mego figures from Planet of the Apes and Buffalo Bill and Farrah Fawcett. Mego was a less expensive maker at the time, but they're still pretty collectible now. Jackie Robinson, this book was written right after he broke the color barrier in baseball for the Dodgers. Next to Little Black Sambo. Times changed pretty quickly in that period. Some Viewmaster reel sets, Disney Tomorrowland and the Moon Landing. I haven't seen these figures before. They're just cheap little ones, but these are James Bond 007 Secret Agent from the 60s. You have M, his boss. Largo, a cruel one-eyed villain who I don't remember. Dr. No with his poison vial. And Goldfinger. This booth actually has a lot of fun toys and things that I remember from my childhood or older kids having during my childhood. Tweety Bird is $15 from the 1960s. I haven't seen this figure before, made in Japan. Barnum and Bailey Circus, greatest show on earth. This might sell in Florida. It's $25 though, and that's about what I would expect to get for it. Now that Ringling has closed, there's a lot of nostalgia for circus items down there because that's where their winter home was in Sarasota, or near there. I recently said that I thought Hess had quit making these because they sold off their retail gas stations, but I understand they are still doing an annual one of these. This one's older because you can see the snub-nosed semi, but it is made in China, so you're probably talking about 10 years ago. Vapocresylene. This is a very popular product in its time. And there's the electric vaporizer. That was a new idea. I only see the old ones that are not electric, generally speaking. That's just the bottle for the stuff that yours to vaporize. I'm not sure how good that was actually for you to breathe, but people thought it was a remedy. This is pretty cool because this is McAllister, Oklahoma, Indian Territory. This is before the Sooners had taken over a lot of Oklahoma. These buildings burned in 1905, before statehood, so that is something that is no longer there. This is also McAllister in that same period. Old maps, these 1930s and 40s era are the ones people are starting to collect now. This is 1942, $20. Seems to be about the going rate on these. A union membership ribbon band out of North Bend, Oregon. You can see the silk has gone on the back. A typical problem with those. I like this with the Aztec calendar in the middle of it. It's abalone surround. It is silver plate, however. Cozy mysteries were things a lot of women wrote and read in the 1950s. This is Private Eye. Detective stories, those were more oriented towards men for some reason. Small blob top bottles. Embossing is something we see in the later part of the 19th century, and the blob tops were a popular way to put tops on in the 1880s or so. Notice the seam does not go all the way to the top. They didn't figure out how to do that until the early 1900s. Lots of products were sold in jars that could be kept. This is sugar and cinnamon. Mr. Bear's a bank, too. If he cut a hole in the top, it is. Coof's Barrel Bank Mustard. It was a way to convince people to buy your product because you got a tiny little something extra. This one's a fish. The Globe Bank is fun. These are all 1940s and 50s. And they have the comics as well. 2 for 10, 8 for 30. Swiss Family Robinson. I remember not understanding that as a child. I think I was too young. McDuck of Arabia. I love Uncle Scrooge. My sister used to call me Scrooge McDuck. And here we have some earlier Marvel items. The Supervillain Teen and Up. This is number 8. $10 on that. Captain Marvel, number 32. He's having a day. $40 on that one. And Tigra the Werewoman. Ooh, that looks exciting. Number 3. Pulse-pounding premiere issue in her own spine-chilling series at last. $50. That's a scarce one. And Zorro the Fox from about 1960. Walt Disney Productions. That one is $40. Zorro has definitely continued to have fans in this day and age. Some vintage, or at least vintage-looking clothing here. I like the sombrero, of course. If you're having as much fun as I am wearing this hat, well then please click the thumbs up to let people know you like this. Please subscribe if you haven't. That way you can click the bell to be notified of future videos. And check out memberships as well. We have lots of different tiers and different perks for each one. Looks like a lot of vinyl from my era. $20 on Steve Miller. The Bee Gees' Greatest. There's Heart, Dreamboat Annie. One thing I overlooked at first were these Scandinavian enamel boats, and Paul said he can do 20 a piece on them, and you know what? I think I'm going to take them all. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice check pin there too. Yeah, he's just got cool stuff. Well, I like this Gunsmoke. That's interesting. I haven't seen that one before. Was L&M a sponsor, or did they just get a couple? Oh, they sponsored him. Okay.
Go back to the vehicle. They're back to.
Oh, absolutely. This is neat. Carta Blanca, and this looks like a 1960s piece with the very pretty Mexican women in various headdresses. These are really great too. These are based on Peter Mack's designs of the day, although they were done by Stout Signs in St. Louis, and they've got the in and the out in really good condition. These were around about 1970. Their signs are original and really nice. I've got to say, the Nesbitt's California, the Orange Crush, the Canada Dry. Yeah, they've got the real stuff. I love seeing this instead of reproductions. And because we're in Texas, we're seeing some things that are a little different, like Guns of the Old West, as mellow as the West was wild. And then there's a 7-Up highball. 7-Up tried to sell itself as a drink mix and a hangover cure at the same time. I like this purple vase too. It is an Anna Van Briggle. For those who don't recognize it, we'll hold it up so you can see the bottom. One of the later ones, probably 1970s, but really a beautiful, very even purple color. And then behind it, it looks like we have a nice little Gouda inkwell on a stand. I don't see a lot of Gouda ever since, or Gouda, as they say in Holland. Ever since I sold that big collection, I've run into very little of it. Wow, and then there's this. Scarves RS. Old quilts RS, and I like quilt tops. Big question is condition, of course, as well as price. You're going to have to look for stains and tears when you see a big lump like this, because I think they're just piling them up and bringing them and figuring we'll let the buyer go through. Some are scraps and remnants. This one is acrylic fabric, which does not sell well for me. I really only sell the cotton ones well. And they have a bunch that are made up over here, but these look more contemporary to me. The old ones are on the wall over there, those appliques with the sunbonnet kids. Those are very cute, 1930s era, you can tell by the colors and the thinness of the cotton batting. Lighter weight, because we're in Texas, they wouldn't have needed as heavy here. So this is Linda, and you can see how she does this. She gets all sorts of amazing linens of all kinds. She's got old ones, she's got clothes, she's got everything. And the stuff that's old and vintage, she's got prices on where it's intact. And then there's all these things that you can buy wholesale. And wow, good deals. Definitely, I bet you get a lot of people who dig through all this.
Yes, I do. I'm almost 80 years old. I had 3 years of homemaking in school. Well, they do not teach that anymore. And I have customers who tell me that their grandmother is just taught them to sew.
Yes.
And they'll come buy from me.
Because they actually had time to stop for a minute. And yeah, isn't that exciting to get a new generation?
Hospital, 34 years. I worked with the doctors who started Texas Oncology for 22 years.
Interesting. What got you into this?
I never had grandparents, and I loved history, and I loved the thoughts of the elderly ladies sitting there by candlelight making the beautiful things. And so I started off by buying quilts from a girl at the mailroom at the hospital.
Oh.
That's why I got it started, and I started off with one booth way back over the corner. And I now have 20 booths.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, you've got everything from bridal gowns to quilts to a whole section of clothing, and then all of these bins and bins full of everything. I mean, if it's linen or fabric, you've pretty much handled it now, huh?
I just brought these quilt blocks out about 3 months ago. I collected them for 30 years.
Oh, neat.
And then I've just started selling some, and I've probably sold 500.
Oh, that's so fun. And I like this idea. Give them a place to sit while she looks.
Exactly.
Well, that was really fun. And what an interesting story. And so many people who were in nursing end up in this business. Bunch of yo-yo pieces sewn together here. And then she's just got bins and bins of doilies and tablecloths and runners, and it just runs the whole gamut. I see 1930s, I see 1970s, I see stuff that maybe is more contemporary. I also see a really decent price on a Hudson's Bay blanket here. It's a 4-point. You can see the 4 little black marks that make it a 4-point. They've got 125 on this. It looks like it's a twin size and has just a few spots, but overall it's in pretty good shape. The crazy quilt here is 100. Then there's Christmas, lots of aprons, Mexican themes, and more. Here's another pretty quilt. I like the blue color. And this actually looks older than you would think because, again, it's a very thin border and thin batting. So probably from about 1940, priced at $125. Mickey Mouse fabric. This just goes on and on. Burlap and feed sack bags, of course. A lot of people like to use these for various things, including upholstery nowadays. Well, this is a place you could just dig and dig and dig. McGregor Tweed. That was a name that we used to look for. So you've just come from Colorado.
I have. I brought my vintage clothing store here.
Wonderful.
And I do have some really fine men's things, which you don't always see.
You don't see so much men's. That's what attracted me to that. I had one similar back in, I think, the 1980s. 99, yeah.
This rack, I'm doing 20% off both sides of this double rack.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to take a little look around your space because you have some really wonderful things, and it's nice to see actual vintage fashion. She's got furs and collars and some nice little tams and hats and berets. These very sparkly, spangly pieces from the 1980s and 90s are definitely coming back into style now. They are asking, how much on this one? $20. It's certainly snazzy. And it is nice to see men's. I remember when every professor at my university in the preppy days of the early 80s had these tweed jackets with leather sewn over the elbows. This one's priced at $79. They were more expensive than that new for certain, so. And this is American made back when such things were still being made in the USA. You sell on Etsy where?
I do. My Etsy store is Upswing Life.
Upswing Life. Excellent. Oh, that's great.
On here right now, but what I do have is not here, but I have some really fine pieces on there right now, and we'll be adding a few more. So.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's great to meet you. Vintage lunch boxes and thermoses. There's Knight Rider, one of the last of the metal ones, and Gremlins, Care Bears. In the 80s, they start switching over to plastic. Dark Crystal with the Muppets. Another comics and vinyl dealer. Doris Day. Wow, look at that outfit. $29.95. This one is sealed with the book and the record. That's why it's $40. Usually they are separated or long gone. In the era where Zodiac was king in the late 60s, these little sewing boxes were made with the Zodiac calendar on top. They're asking $25 for that now. $100 for the Van Briggle with the butterfly. I don't know if I've ever seen so many carved wood pins in one place before.
Those are all from the 1940s, hand carved.
Yeah, back when they didn't have material during the war, so they started making these. I've never seen so many in one place.
Yeah, I hit the jackpot. I bought a collection.
That's really cool.
That's open if you want to see anything.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's nice of him to let us take a closer look. This one is interesting with the carving and the eye and the sewn pieces around. That's something a little different. This one with the sombrero. Anything with attachments makes it a little more interesting. Of course, unflattering depictions of African natives were still a thing then. I've had this one. It's very stylized. They would sometimes combine them with lucite as well. I like that one in particular. $24 on the painted one there. This dog is a Denver, Colorado souvenir. And this one just has the funniest ears. I look for the quality of the carving on these, but...
That's really old pricing.
Oh, sure, no problem.
If you see something you like, we can always work it here.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. This one's nice because of the bridle. They also have some beautiful glass. I love the bride's baskets. I know they don't sell for big prices like they used to, but look how pretty that one is that folds down in the front. 1880s and 90s are dates on most of these. And then compare that to this very pretty but small Blanco piece, which probably costs almost as much as these other pieces do. On this table, I see some fun ceramics, some neat chalkware. I like the exotic birds. Here's a bunch of the McCoy early pieces in the brown onyx glaze treatment. I like it when it has more blue in it. And then this little piece looks like a Weller, or possibly Roseville or Owen, since they all did similar work. It's a very small piece from about 1900, but I like the design. We'll see what they want for that. And then here's a case full of some neat batholite. Porcelain insert on that one. I like these hats. Lots of nice earrings, just so colorful. Up here they have this very nice bakelite top purse with the micro beading around it. That's a very, very pretty piece I've never gotten to own, but I see them from time to time. That is a crib toy. Those are collectible. My aunt had the cherry set when she was young. I like the octopus dream pet. It's always been one of my favorites. $15. That's about what they usually sell for, but I think dream pets are a fun thing to collect because you can still find them. There's another one. Wow, look at that face. And then this guy up here is the lion, and he has his original tag. It's RS Prussia biscuit jar in the middle there. That's very pretty, from about 1900. Priced at $95. You know, there was a time that would have been $200 more than that. People are not yet grasping the fact that we know now what the reproductions are and that they're not something that you can't tell apart. So I think at some point, these things will be more appreciated and people will stop being afraid to collect them again. This is a cool little piece here. It appears to be a nightlight or a TV lamp. Very lightweight, Japanese out of the 60s. There's the Wales mark. That would be very Florida, I have to ask. There's a different style of real raw wood table.
This dog.
The dog is great, actually.
He was from the 40s,
Really?
and he was made in Italy.
Yeah, he looks Italian.
And, yeah, he's $500.
He's really neat. I had a Dalmatian once that was about that size, and yeah, that thing.
Really heavy, but it's
Yeah.
concrete. I guess it's
Like a really heavy, dense chalkware, plaster, ceramic.
plastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a real thick plastic.
Very cute, though. I like this Yankee label bread. They all like it. It's smacking good. From about 1910. They really do have a lot of cool stuff in this booth. And I'm glad I'm finding some things that I can buy.
Yeah.
And what, pray tell, is this? Oh, yes, it's a toy. You would have a string that would run up and down. Around 1900, the Staffordshire potteries continued to make these figures, and they started putting clocks in. So this clock surround is an interesting piece. And I don't see a tag, but they usually sell for about $150 to $200. Well, this is a fun space. And there's another dream pet next to a Knickerbocker made in New York, which would be about 10 years older. Cool hay claw here with just the right amount of lichen on it. Where'd you get that?
I bought it here at Canton, actually.
Old marble toy. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Oh, you've even got the truck right for it.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking for a truck because I bought it by itself. I need to get a good, and I said, I got the one at home, and I think it's the right color.
It's perfect. It's the right color. It's the right era.
Yep.
That is awesome. $350 on that. Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of marble toys anymore. That's really cool.
And there's something I haven't seen. Bronze Victorian. You see the baby shoes?
You see the baby shoes. I've never seen the Victorian shoes bronze before. Wow, very cool. Well, right away, you've got a few interesting things that are new to me. That's great. And this is cool New York City police hat.
That's a Montgomery Ward's from the 40s or so.
Oh, the mannequin?
Uh-huh. She's all crackly and
Wow.
she has the look, you know.
She sure does.
Countertop of somebody who wants to sell it to them, and it shows them no refrigerator door hinge.
Oh.
So that's what they're selling. And then they get
Interesting. For an industrial use of some sort. Yeah, like a restaurant or something. Oh, that's interesting. You know, we see lots of stuff that people say are salesman samples, but this one really is. Because what else are you going to use it for exactly? The old Gillette case. Yeah, boy, those have gone way up. I use a bunch of these at my shows to display in, and
yep.
Boy, I
always want to buy them.
They always want to buy
put a price on it.
That's what I did too. I put a price that I hope no one would pay, and someone bought one of them. I'm like, dang.
Glass.
Oh, that's really cool.
36 is about what we're.
Oh, wow.
And I had a buddy make that with a light, so.
It looks great.
Yeah. That's an old glue pot. You know that?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, these were the ones that fell over and burned houses down.
Well, they would have tree sap and actually some kind of poop, cow
Yeah.
deer poop,
Yeah.
and something else, and then they would heat it because this thing comes up. So they would put hot water in this, and then they, if it had dried out, it would soften up again.
Right. Oh, that is cool. I have never actually seen. Yep. Dried pine sap, charcoal powder, and dried deer poop in that case. That is really interesting.
This is actually a gunpowder keg for Leon, because look at the sapling wrap.
Yeah, that's really neat. All primitive and handmade.
I've had one other before, and it sold it really well.
I've only seen them. I've never actually had one before. And the primitive grain scoop, it's cool to see primitives.
And then into the bag,
Right. Yeah, so neat. Made out of, look at the piece of wood. Now they make furniture out of that kind of thing. Well, my goodness, you have a lot of really interesting things. And those are neat because they're girl and girl
size boots
and
stuff.
Right, tennis.
Yeah. 18.
Oh, because they're flats. Yes.
And 1880s barber
bottles,
water, stuff like that.
Mhm.
That was actually a basketball mask to keep their glasses on and keep the fingers out of their eyes.
Oh, right. Yeah, back in the early days before the rules changed and you couldn't just put your hands up. Yeah.
Yep. 1930s wool men's swimsuit.
Those are great. Yeah, I always look at those pictures of the women and the men out in the... Yeah, and they're out in the water and it's 50 degrees and you think, how could they do that? Well, they were wearing solid wool. Of course they could.
Men, these are probably hanging out here. And this is actually cool. I'm getting excited. $100 reward. These went on Model T with the wood spoked wheels. With all of them on
your
there.
first anti-theft device.
Yes. I got the key and everything.
That is interesting.
$100 reward for anybody tampering on this with this device.
Wow. Miller Chapman Company. That's cool.
That's a lot of money back in 1914.
Yeah, no kidding. That is really interesting because you know that as soon as cars were left out, somebody was going to come along and take one, right?
Pretty easy to steal them, I would think, but got one of those on, you sure couldn't drive away.
Well, this fellow has really great stuff, and he's been telling us all about it. What's your name?
Jeff Cleveland.
And do you do this show regularly? Every month. Oh, that's awesome. Well, if you get to Canton, look up Jeff because he's got really interesting things. He knows about them, and he has a whole bunch of stuff I've never seen before, and I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah. You see my pigeon carrier? Early pigeon carrier. They had it slotted in there where they carry their flying.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And I know that was popular for racing. And then during the war, I guess they trained a bunch of them too.
Probably so. Yep.
Oh, and then you've got a big old Verner's ginger ale sign. Well, you have just got a whole lot of really interesting stuff, and it's a pleasure to meet you. This was to cover up a sugar cone and keep the flies off. It's sort of like putting a pie in a pie safe with the screen.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because then it could still dry out. Yeah. Very neat. Again, another interesting thing. And the asparagus buncher, that is a really cool thing. Well, you have just got the most interesting stuff. Thank you for taking some time. Bunch of cameos here. She's left facing, which is nice. And she is 65. She's a Vandel, probably 1950s. This one faces right, $55. Nice detail in that. Well, this has been so much fun. We've gotten to see a bunch of really cool things. I've gotten to buy some really cool things. The prices were fair to very good, and some of the stuff is just really amazing. So if you're ever in the Canton area, it is the first weekend before the first Monday of each month. If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.